Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, strong to severe thunderstorms are possible this evening and overnight across Kentucky. This is a severe weather alert day, and meteorologist Evan Hatter joins us now with the latest. Evan?
That's right, Steve. All eyes on our west right now as we watch a powerful storm system work into the region, mainly out to the west right now. However, some of us are seeing a few showers this afternoon. Outside right now, seeing maybe a peak of sunshine trying to work out there on the high knob camera at the University of Virginia's College at Wise. Upper 60s right now, which means other areas are even warmer than that. Down into Moorhead, let's go back. Downtown, or not downtown Moorhead, but along the interstate in Moorhead, it is looking overcast right now. And believe it or not, that's actually a good thing. Temperatures, areas where we haven't seen the showers, we're quite warm. Middle and upper 70s. Some of us within shouting distance of 80 right now. Others, upper 60s, low 70s, and we are seeing a few showers. Now moving into the Big Sandy region. Places like Johnson and Floyd County getting in on the heaviest of the showers right now, but those extend back as far west as Moorhead, Frenchburg, and even Stanton. But this is not the show. The show remains out to our west. Tornado warnings north of Memphis in the Missouri Boot Heel. Several tornado watches out as this line of storms really gets cranking here out to the west this afternoon. That's where the best ingredients are. You're looking at the latest threat outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. Areas to our west, including parts of West Kentucky, in a 4 out of 5 moderate risk for severe weather. For us, that tapers off to a level 1 and a level 2 risk, but we still have that threat as we head later on tonight. So keep that WYMT weather app handy. We'll actually be in okay shape for many as we head through the evening hours. But as we head later on tonight, we're going to be watching for the potential for strong to severe thunderstorms pushing into the mountains. I'll have the latest timing and threats coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Evan, thank you. COVID-19 cases are decreasing in the Commonwealth. The positivity rate is now around 2%, a welcome sign for many health leaders. WYMT's Dakota Makris shows us how much has changed in 2 years.
Health leaders are calling the past 2 years a roller coaster ride as COVID-19 hit the region hard.
We have had a total now of over 33,000 cases in the Kentucky River District. So basically 1 out of every 3 people in our area has had COVID.
Kentucky River District Health Department Public Health Director Scott Lockard says reflecting shows how they did well in some areas while learning big lessons in others.
I think communication has been key. One of the things we've strived to do is to communicate openly and transparently with the population here, try to get them the information that they need.
The Kentucky COVID-19 community levels by county map shows every county but Anderson in the green level, something not seen for most of the pandemic.
You know, it's pretty much business as usual. You know, we can go out, we can socialize, we can do things, we don't have to worry about masking.
Saying we are in the best place we have been since the pandemic began and hoping we can stay there. In Hazard, Dakota Makris, WYMT Mountain News.
Scott Lockard tells us Perry County has the 5th highest vaccination percentage rate in the state. April marks National Stress Awareness Month, the time of year dedicated to letting people know how stress can impact the mind and body and what we can do to cope with it. Medical Director of Psychiatric Services at Baptist Health Corbin, Dr. Mazar Salim, says stress is inevitable and it can often lead to larger mental and physical issues if left unmanaged. However, he warns the hardest part in dealing with stress may not be the impact itself, but recognizing the subtle symptoms before they escalate.
If we become impatient, if we feel that our hearts are beating faster, if we are restless, if we're not sleeping good, if we're not resting good, if we're eating too much, that's a sign of stress.
Dr. Salim adds that self-care, frequent exercise, and maintaining personal boundaries are 3 things that can dramatically reduce stress. Healthcare workers certainly work under a large amount of stress, especially throughout the pandemic. And to try to combat that anxiety, depression, and burnout, researchers at Ohio University created and tested a tranquil virtual reality experience immersing employees in nature. Dr. Elizabeth Beverly led one of the studies showing programs like the 3-minute, 360-degree experience used there can combat stress in a real way, letting them get away from it all, even when they can't actually leave.
It's a moment of respite. in a very chaotic, overwhelming situation. It gives you an opportunity to get away, to escape into nature. And we know the health benefits of being in nature.
Researchers are looking at possible long-lasting stress benefits to the virtual reality experience, and they are introducing other scenes to accompany the forest workers can currently visit, including beaches and snow falling, since some people may prefer different scenes to relax. One major source of stress for many is money, and the economy is being dominated by rising inflation that just won't quit. The Labor Department says consumer prices were 8.5% higher in March compared to 1 year ago. That's the biggest jump in more than 40 years, led by a huge increase in gas prices. After the report came out yesterday, President Biden went to Iowa to talk about efforts to drive down prices at the pump. He blamed those higher prices on Vladimir Putin's war on Ukraine. CBS's Ed O'Keefe is at the White House.
Prices are up and Americans are feeling the pain. Last month, inflation jumped 8.5% from 12 months earlier, with energy costs soaring 32%. The high costs spread to your kitchen, too. Coffee and eggs up 11%. Milk and fruit also climbing. And bringing home the bacon now costs 18% more. Prices Houston barbecue owner Russell Rogels is feeling.
And everything goes up and down, but it seems like nothing's going down anymore. Everything's just creeping up.
Higher costs for everything he buys and sells are cutting into his profits. And he worries if his prices have to go much higher, customers won't come back.
Every time we raise prices, they'll look at the menu board and look down there like, whoa, you went up. And I'm like, look, we have to. We don't have a choice.
Traveling in Iowa on Tuesday, President Biden announced a cheaper mix of gasoline known as E15 will be available through the summer months, potentially saving drivers as much as 10 cents a gallon if their vehicle can use it. And while inflation's been rising for the past year, President Biden continued to blame Russian President Vladimir Putin and described his actions in Ukraine for the first time as genocide.
Your family budget, your ability to fill up your tank, none of it should hinge on whether a dictator declares war and commits genocide in half a world away.
He later clarified, but didn't back down from his comments.
We'll let the lawyers decide internationally whether or not it qualifies, but it sure seems that way to me.
President Biden also said that it's becoming clearer and clearer that Vladimir Putin is just trying to wipe out the idea of being Ukrainian entirely, and that the evidence of genocide is mounting. In response, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky thanked the U.S. for its support and called President Biden's comments, quote, true words of a true leader. Ed O'Keefe, CBS News, the White House.
The latest White House idea to reduce gas prices involves an emergency waiver from the Environmental Protection Agency, allowing year-round sales of 15% ethanol blend gasoline. Ethanol comes from plants like corn, so its biggest advantage is price. Experts say E15 gas could be up to 10 cents a gallon cheaper than regular fuel right now. But it creates more smog than normal gas because it evaporates faster and reacts with sunlight. Summer weather can make that worse, which is why the limitations are normally in place. Google is doubling down on office space. The tech giant says it plans to invest $9.5 billion in offices and data centers in the U.S. this year, up from more than $7 billion last year. It comes as many employees are returning to the office about 3 days per week after 2 years of being fully remote. The CEO wrote in a blog post, even with people working in offices less, investing in campuses still helps its product and quality of life for workers. Let's head over to Wall Street now on this Wednesday. The Dow closes up today more than 345 points. We'll have more financial news in our next half hour. But straight ahead here on First at 4, outlooks report the upcoming hurricane season this year could rival that of 2021, which broke multiple records.
And I've got the latest on the potential for strong to severe thunderstorms as we head later into tonight. The full details coming up next.